what's going on? So I've been playing MapleStory ever since it first came out, and with MapleStory Classic right around the corner, I wanted to take a look back at the original 4 classes: Warrior, Bowman, Magician, and Thief. Each class has its own playstyles, strengths, and weaknesses, so if you're like me, you probably spent hours trying to decide which one to start with. So in this video, we're going to break down each of the 4 classes, how they play, and what it might look like, and what might be the best fit for you in MapleStory Classic. Alright, so first up, we've got the Warrior. This is the classic beginner's choice in old school MapleStory. They're strong, tanky, and built for close combat. If you like getting right into action and swinging weapons, this is the class for you. First off, with Power Strike, this is going to be your main single target skill as a warrior. Uses up a bit more MP, but in return it hits like a truck, dealing up to 3 times your normal damage. Early on, this is the move that's going to make you feel powerful, turning slow basic attacks into huge, satisfying hits. If you're training on tougher monsters, Power Strike is your best friend. Next up, we have Slash Blast. This is your first mobbing skill, so it lets you hit multiple enemies at once with a wide swing. It's not as strong as Power Strike on a single target, but it's way faster for clearing groups. Once you get a few points in this skill, grinding becomes way more smoother and way more fun. So those are the 2 main skills that you're probably going to be focusing on up until level 30 at least. But another one that's helpful is Iron Body. So this is a simple but useful defensive buff. Boosts your weapon defense for a short time, helping you take less damage when training. So when it comes to training your warrior from levels 10 to 30, it is pretty slow, but it is pretty straightforward. You're going to focus on Power Strike and Slash Blast for fast leveling. There are a couple more skills worth putting points into, like passive boosts and recovery skills, but we're not going to go too deep into that in this video. The main thing is finding a good map, stacking your HP potions, and start swinging the old warrior grind. So that's the Warrior. Strong, simple, and built to take on anything. If you like charging straight into battle, this is the class for you. Alright, let's wrap up the Warrior with some pros and cons. So starting with the pros, Warriors hit hard right from the start. Some of the strongest early game damage in MapleStory. They have high HP and high defense, which makes them super tanky and easy to train with. The playstyle is simple and beginner friendly, and once you get into bossing later on, they're actually really solid. Plus, you can't go wrong with the Warrior. It's the classic MapleStory experience. And for the cons, Warriors can feel painfully slow, especially early on before you get those mobility skills. You've got no range, so you're always running right up to the enemy, and combat can feel a little bit repetitive. That sluggish movement can make training a grind sometimes, but if you deal with the pace, the Warrior stays strong all the way through. Alright, so next up is the Bowman. I've never personally played a Bowman, but after trying this out on Ardtail, it might be one of the classes that I might try when MapleStory Classic comes out, because I've been having a ton of fun and I'm only level 12. So the first skill we're going to talk about is Arrow Blow. So I didn't really know what to expect here, but it seems like it's just one big shot, kind of like Power Strike in the Warrior. Early on I was using it just because it looked like the thing to use, but then I noticed that double shot is a lot better. So I think I'm going to work on maxing double shot first. I'd say it's more of a feel-good skill than a practical one. Like, you use it because it's fun, not just because it's the best option. But again, I'm still new to Bowman, so maybe I'll change my mind later when I've played more. Next up, double shot. This seems like this is the one that you actually should be using. So once I unlocked this, the gameplay just kind of clicked. You shoot 2 arrows super fast and you see those criticals hitting, and even though the damage per arrow isn't huge, it adds up. You'll see steady stream of damage with the occasional crit burst, but it's nice. And the other 2 skills that you're going to probably max out are, first up, Critical Shot 1, and then the Eye of the Amazon. So Critical Shot is basically a simple attack. It gives your attacks a chance to hit harder with critical damage. Early on, you're going to start seeing those pink critical numbers pop up, and it looks nice. Next one is Eye of the Amazon. It basically just increases your attack range. So we'll get into the pros and cons. So for some of the pros, they have really high accuracy because you're training that dex. The range is really good. Feels smooth to train, and the critical damage is very high. And for some cons, they're slow and weak to train. They do have low HP. They can be expensive, and close range, they just kind of suck. All right, now let's talk about the Thief, one of my personal favorite classes. So, when you pick the Thief, you're basically choosing between two paths: the quick and deadly assassin who fights from a distance using throwing stars, and the up and close bandit who fights with daggers and speed. I have played both of these, with the assassin being my all-time favorite, but the bandit is a close second for sure. Using having moves and access to moves like haste and flash jump in the future are just amazing. So some of the clips I'm going to use in this aren't from Rtail, they're from regular MapleStory, and these are some of my old accounts that I used to play on. A lot has changed, so if you're seeing those super high numbers, don't be expecting those from MapleStory Classic when it comes out. That is just how the game has adapted over the years. So let's get into some of the skills you're going to be using. So first up is Lucky 7. This is what assassins are going to use all the way up till level 70. The skill hits hard and fast, especially when you stack up some of the good gear that you can get. Next, if you choose to use a sword or a dagger, there's double stab. So there's your melee option for when you're right up and close in a monster's face. The other two we're going to talk about is Keen Eyes. So this increases your throwing range, basically making Lucky 7 feel a lot better to use. And Dark Sight, which makes you invisible. And finally, Nimble Body. So this is your passive boost to accuracy and evasion. It doesn't sound flashy, but it makes a big difference early on when you're missing attacks. So overall, the Thief has one of the most satisfying early game play styles. Super fun to use. You move faster than everyone, and your attacks look clean, even though you are a bit fragile with your lower HP. But it is super fun zipping around and picking off monsters. And then by the time you reach level 30, that's when you actually decide whether you want to throw stars or if you want to be a bandit up and close. As for some pros and cons, so the pros are they have super fast attacks, quick movement, they're satisfying to play, extra style points, and dark sight's kind of cool. Cons, low HP and defense, they are pretty expensive. The potions and gear are going to run you, and they do have pretty low accuracy, especially if you're trying that dexless build out. So next up, we've got the Magician. This is actually the first class I ever played back when I started MapleStory. There was just something cool about Magicians, and they were just a little different. So they start off a little fragile, but once your spells kick in, they're one of the strongest early game classes out there. So we're going to start out with the first attack that you get as a Magician. So this is Energy Bolt. So it's a single straight shot spell that costs a bit of MP but deals solid early damage. It's simple and does the job until you unlock stronger skills. You're mostly only going to use these for the first couple levels after your job advancement. Next up, we have Magic Claw. So this is where things start to feel good. It fires 2 quick hits of magic energy, making it one of the most reliable skills for early training. It's faster, smoother, and overall hits way higher than Energy Bolt. So this is the early game carry for magicians. And another one you're going to want to put some of your skill points into is Magic Armor. So this gives some nice defense boost, helping reduce physical damage from monsters. It's not the flashiest spell, but makes a difference when you're training on tougher mobs or trying to save mesos on some of the potions you're going to be using up. Training as a magician from levels 10 to 30 is actually pretty easy once you get your magic skills going, so you're mostly going to rely on Magic Claw for fast, consistent damage and use your range to avoid hits. There's a few passive skills worth investing into, but we're not going to go too deep into those in this video. The key is managing your MP and keeping distance from monsters. So overall, the magic is perfect if you liked ranged combat, big flashy attacks, and fast leveling. It's one of the smoothest early game classes in MapleStory. Now for the pros and cons. So magicians hit hard early on. Once your spells kick in, leveling becomes really fast. You get great range, flashy attacks, and a playstyle that feels strong from the start. They're also super beginner friendly and cheap to play. No arrows, no stars, just magic. Now for the cons, magicians are fragile, so be ready to die a lot. You got low HP and defense, so one bad hit can take you out. You'll also chew through MP potions pretty quickly, and the early levels before Magic Claw can feel rough. Grinding can get a bit repetitive too, but once you play through that, magicians become one of the strongest and most fun classes to play. So that's all four original MapleStory classes: Warrior, Bowman, Magician, and Thief. Each one has its own playstyle, strengths, and little quirks, but honestly, that's what makes classic MapleStory coming back so exciting. Whether you want to hit big numbers as a Warrior, keep your distance as a Bowman, blast things with magic, or zip around as a Thief, there's something for everybody. I've been playing MapleStory since the very beginning, and I cannot wait for MapleStory Classic to drop so we can all experience that grind and nostalgia again. If you found this video helpful, drop a like. Let me know in the comments which class you're planning to start with. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in MapleStory Classic.